Many years from now, there is going to be a quiet crisis, loneliness in women especially. Not because women failed, not because they weren't capable or intelligent, but because they were handed a script or a blueprint that left out the consequences.
Yes, while women were busy talking about the male loneliness epidemic, which doesn't really exist because how can that be with Pornhub and massage parlors? While they were talking about that non-existing loneliness epidemic, they didn't notice that they were slipping into one themselves. The female loneliness epidemic has already started, and as this lady correctly noticed, that this is only going to get worse and worse and worse. And of course, as always, the consequences of women's behavior is what's going to do them in. I can't emphasize this enough because I don't know who even needs to be told this, but men are okay. They will survive being lonely. Like I said, we have things to do and we can take care of things on our own. Most men are very self-sufficient and truly independent human beings, as we have to be, where women can't be. Women cannot buy, like we can, what they need from the opposite sex. Men can. Pretty much in every country, they can do that. Women can't. You cannot go to a red light district if you're a woman and buy yourself some empathy and emotional intelligence, right? This is not a product and will never be. So this is going to come down to men finding AI also a safe haven where women won't be able to, because men are perfectly fine being lied to by AI that somebody cares about them. Women cannot make that connection knowing that this is a robot they're talking to. They need an actual female connection. I hope I'm not blowing anyone's minds with this, but this is where we're at. And of course, what women have been sold by mainly other women is that they need to be independent, they need to spend their 20s, developing their career, becoming independent, and a lot of them just kind of sleep around, which unlike many other red pillars, I don't have a problem with that. I am all for women experiencing sex in whatever way they want. However, what happens once they hit their 30s and then 40s and 50s, we see a lot of videos, and there are more and more of them just in the last year. We see more videos on TikTok and YouTube saying like, oh my God, I'm really lonely. You can see their cats are playing with their antidepressant pills and pill bottles behind them. They're like, well, what went wrong? Or they know what went wrong and they're trying to give advice to other younger women, but younger women don't give a shit. You know what I mean? So this is something that's essentially going to happen. Now, I always said that a woman who says that I'm in my 20s, I'm in my prime as a potential female partner, and I don't need no man, essentially that's a mental health disability. It's probably the biggest mental health crisis that we had in a long time that no one's talking about. No therapist is going to diagnose this as a mental health problem. But when you are a woman and you say, I don't need a man, that's a mental health issue, and you will suffer from it. And a lot of times it's going to be the next step, the depression, because this is just how you can't fight nature, or if you believe in God, you can't fight how God created everybody, right? So, and yet they're trying to do it. And I understand. It looks great on Instagram. Well, it looks great on Instagram. Doesn't look so good, years down the road when no one is taking pictures of themselves when, drinking wine in their pajamas with the cats around. And, I'm not trying to make a light of it. It is a big problem. And more women are starting to feel this way. Why? Because more and more men, especially higher quality men, have decided to walk away from women altogether. Many men, I know many of them personally, you can see tons of them on the forums and making their own videos and TikToks, or just even in the parks and coffee shops in your everyday life. Men, a lot of them has walked away from just not only modern women, but I live here in Southeast Asia, and even here, a lot of men just walked away from women. I do have to tell you guys a secret. Passport bro is no longer a thing. You can come to Thailand. You can come here, sure. You will not experience a difference, that much of a difference in your ability to get into a real relationship, to get a wife. Will Thai women and Southeast Asian women be more pleasant, ghosting you and not replying to your messages and rejecting you when you're trying a cold approach? Yes, they will be. Not for long, but they will be. The biggest benefit of being here for now is to just be away from Western women, though more and more Western women are actually moving here for some reason, even though they pretty much almost never get wifed up here by Thai or for other foreigners. So it baffles my mind when they move here, and then you can see them complaining about how nobody wants them. But that's a whole different video that I've already made a couple of times, so you can check that in my library. More and more men, there's actually a very popular hashtag MGTOW, right? Men going their own way. In different ways. Some men completely just stop, they just lost interest in women, and that's it. Some men essentially are just not pursuing serious relationships, and I am kind of more and more into that in that category now. Yes, we'll still sleep with women. Some men, purchase the services that they need, but the majority of these men just have no interest in ever sort of dating a woman ever again. And the third, I guess I belong to that category as well, who just leave America and other countries where it's impossible to deal with the modern women and come to countries like Thailand where, you do have some choices here, and there are less and less of them, but you will overall see a pretty respectful and feminine behavior still from women. Most of the time, it of course depends if you learn how to speak Thai or you end up hanging out in touristy places where you'll most likely encounter same type of women, even though they're Thai, but they're westernized Thai. They're pretty much American women with Thai passports. So this entire sort of clusterfuck that's now turning around is starting to actually hurt women once men realize that, yeah, we've tried this and that, and the result is always the same. Why bother spending our time and money when we don't have to, especially when the result is always the same? And thus, this is where the female loneliness epidemic has started, especially women in their 30s and 40s and of course 50s, where there's much less interest from men. I mean, I gotta tell you that, I'm almost 50, and most of the time when I see a girl who I would want to pursue, especially because of her look, she's in her 20s. Once in a while in her 30s. But and there are tons of men like me who are basically saying, listen, if I'm going to change the life of this girl and provide for her and protect and even out of my grave, I will make sure that she's taken care of for the rest of her life. If I'm going to do all that, I want a cutie. She doesn't have to be a fashion model, but I want a young, youthful, cute girl. And most of the time, these girls are in their 20s. So it's not a myth that women in their even 30s are already having a decline in interest in men. And by that, I don't mean interest in men putting little likes on the Instagram. I mean interest in men and taking you seriously and actually is eventually wanting to marry you or at least be in a long-term relationship with you. So the female loneliness epidemic has already started, and I believe unless something else happens, there are other forces around us like AI, how fast that's going to develop, how fast the humanoid robots are going to develop, because if that's going to be a thing, then men really will not need women anymore at all. It could be the other way around as well. But that would be a huge tragedy, I think. But at the end of the day, that's the only thing that I think will turn, and it's already started turning women around when they realize, we now don't have the attention of men. We are not being asked out. We are not being taken seriously as potential partners. And I see some women are finally, they're still in a stage of bitching and complaining about it. That's natural. But I see some women turning around and now saying like, I'm going to go to Home Depot now and dress cutely and see if I can get some manly man there. or maybe I should make the right move, or maybe I should take that stupid fucking earbuds out and, maybe not be on my phone like this all the time. Maybe I will smile a few more times at the guy. I see those videos more and more, and I think this is a product of the female loneliness epidemic. So gentlemen, if you haven't participated yet, please join MGTOW. Please walk away. Make sure that your needs are still taken care of, unless you can absolutely abandon them, and things will start getting better. Things will start getting better, at the very least, because we all know what's to expect. We all know that the expectations are, whether on dating apps or in person, should be pretty much non-existent. You should be improving yourself. You should be making money. You should be not wasting money and simping on women. And, the more of men join this movement, the faster we'll all most likely see the behavior of women turning around into something that we can actually stomach. If you're a single guy and you're still dating, well, let me help you out when it comes to analyzing dating profiles. All you have to do is take snapshots of a dating profile of a girl you're interested in and upload it into this ChatGPT app called the Dating Profile Analyzer. It is free, and it will give you all the green, yellow, and most importantly, red flags about that profile. You're welcome.